Thank you very much, Nathalie. I'm very pleased and honored to be presenting in front of you today our project, which aimed at helping journalists identify expert knowledge in real time. When we look for information, we never see the big picture. We only skip the surface of news. We look at the first few occurrences in Google and we ignore the million potentially relevant data that is in the rest of the pages. How can we find our way in this sea of information? And more specifically, how can we help journalists identify robust, relevant expert information in the sea in the waves of all this information that is coming every day? We decided to create a compass, a way for journalists to find their way in that environment, and we called it Compascience. Compascience is a practice-driven tool. It connects knowledge, expert, and media content. Specifically, let's take a small example so you can have an idea of what it's doing. Let's imagine that a journalist like Nathalie here has been asked to produce a piece of news regarding genetic manipulation of embryos, for instance. So what she will do is she will enter the term embryo in our system, and she will find the semantic network, all the data that is compiled, and the semantic network around that term. As she browses through it, she finds the word ethics. Because it matches her topic, she will enter it also in the search. And she obtains a new map with both terms and their semantic network. Then she can look for experts, and they appear on the map in purple. She decides to maybe focus on the term bioethics, which is logical regarding the topic that she wants to cover, and then explore the experts that are around this. Maybe she decides to check out Professor Samia Hurst, and then she can see Professor Hurst's associated terms. They are relevant to the topic that she wants to cover. Then she can go and see all the shows in which Professor Hurst recently spoke. This way she can ensure that she doesn't make redundant news, but actually produces a new kind of information. If she's interested, she can listen to the first topic, which is the one that is most relevant, and then, which is on Avis d'Expert, and then she can go and listen to see Professor Hurst's page on Avis d'Expert and all her media interventions. Finally, she can go to the university page where she can get Professor Hurst's contact details. So as you see, we went from having a specific topic given to a journalist to the whole field of information and back to the specific expert that can help that journalist put the information into context. So how did we do this? Well, we compiled a number of corpuses. The first and central one is Avis d'Expert. Avis d'Expert is a database that gathers all information, all topics in which researchers from the higher institution, knowledge institution of Swiss Romand speak about when they come to Radio-Télévision Suisse. So the real key here to understand the difference between other projects that we've seen so far is that we transform audio and video information into text to be able to analyze this. We had to have also, so with Avis d'Expert, we could identify all the experts, but we didn't have their semantic field. So we needed the semantic fields. To do this, we needed a semantic base, a lexicon, and we used Wikipedia. And we then added all these shows that were on Radio-Télévision Suisse for the past 7 years, and all the articles of Le Temps for the past 7 years. So these are the corpuses that we worked with. Then we use an iterative process of two complementary and original approaches. One, computational social science, so machine learning of semantic networks, and a second process of in-depth manual qualitative analysis of subsets of data to constantly improve machine learning. And this way we could produce this system called Compascience. So it's a powerful tool set to produce robust media content and help journalists identify the right expert at the right time to produce their topic. But it's more than that, because it's also useful for the medias. Here what you see on that map is a strategic map of how two medias, in red you have Le Temps, And in blue, you have avid expert, and that's their respective semantic maps. And you can see that they don't address information the same way. If you look at avid expert, there's a lot of information. Here we can read very well, but there's a lot of information about science and medicine. And if you look at Le Temps, there is a lot of economical information. They overlap in the yellow patches, but they have some very specific outlook on news in general. So you can see the way a media is looking at news. And you can also, this is the very macro strategic picture, but we can also go to the very specific user recommendation level and make very specific contextual information for users. It's also useful for experts like university professors and departments, because they can see their own field in the public sphere, and they can see their own interventions in that field and see how journalists see them and how they intervene, and they can see if they missed something or not from what they are usually studying. It's useful for educators to identify course content and use media information as a course content. And we've already had several requests to do that. And finally, it's useful for decision makers to identify the right experts to make policy recommendations when they need to find them for their work. So as you see, it's useful for all kinds of stakeholders beyond its first target, which is journalists. So thank you very much for your attention. And I have to say I've been extremely honored and proud to work with this team of people who were a very dedicated and passionate team. And we look forward to showing you this project and also all the developments that we have. This is just the beginning for us. We have many new ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ayat. Thank you.